Welcome back to Listen Up, presented by Dempsey's Girl in Sportsland. Just me again on the game recap this evening. Great game between Duke and UConn tonight in the Phil Knight Legacy Tournament. Team back in action again on Sunday, but let's go over this game for tonight, Friday night, November 25th. I hope you all enjoyed your Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoyed some time with some friends and family, enjoyed the turkey. I know I certainly did, but let's get into this game. Great game between Duke and UConn. I was glad to see the assistant coach Chris Daly back on UConn's side tonight. She had a medical scare last game. It was good to see her there tonight, supporting there for UConn, coaching them again. Great to see Coach Daly back on the sideline. So first 8 minutes of the first quarter tonight was really even, in my opinion. Duke played really good defense, especially in the paint. UConn didn't play good defense, in my opinion, at least up to their standard of play. They let Duke have too many wide open 3-point shots, and the Blue Devils hit three of them in the first quarter. But to end the quarter, UConn went on a 10-1 run, thanks to Nika continuing her great defensive effort, and AZ Fudd, Lou Lopez Senechal hitting a couple 3-pointers, and the Huskies took a 9-point lead into the second quarter. And I did like the way UConn came out to begin the second. Aaliyah Edwards was more aggressive defensively. She played good defense in the paint, and in my opinion, got two fouls that shouldn't have been called. A couple of questionable calls on Aaliyah Edwards in this game. But Duke continued to play good. They really surprised me in this game. I didn't expect them to put up the fight that they did. And UConn just a little better though, a little faster, a little tougher, and it just made a couple more shots in the end. But UConn took a 41-29 point lead into halftime. But honestly, it did feel a little closer than that score would indicate. And I think on offense for UConn in the first half, sometimes they go too slow and sometimes they go too fast. They still need to find the right balance offensively, in my opinion. I would like to see Aaliyah Edwards, Aubrey Griffin be more aggressive in the paint. Lou Lopez Senechal led with 13 points in that first half, got open shots and capitalized on them. But I think UConn relies a little too much on their defense, creating for their offense and being able to create points off of turnovers and transition opportunities. I know I was a little harsh on them then, criticizing, but let's talk a little more positively now. UConn came out on the second half on fire in that third quarter. Aaliyah hit two mid-range shots, and Lou hit yet another three. Better ball movement on offense. Duke really keyed in on AZ Fudd, as I would expect more teams to do so. She obviously scoring 32 points in two straight games there, or at least trying to make things very tough for AZ Fudd. And I think AZ did a good job. Still had a solid night shooting the ball. She's not going to score 30 points every single game, but I think AZ really did pass the ball really good. And when she did get double, sometimes triple team, she did a good job finding the open teammate and allowing them to take their shot. And AZ still did find a way to score. So she had a really good night, even though I think Duke was trying to really key in on stopping AZ tonight. And I mentioned how well Duke was playing in the first half, and I was wondering if they could keep it up in the second half. And I don't think they were able to. And I think that's one of the reasons why UConn is so good, because through the first four games this season, UConn has been consistent, playing consistently good basketball all four quarters. Or if they start slow, they eventually pick it up and finish the quarter on a good note, and scoring runs as well for UConn. Really, really important for this team. The final score tonight, 78-50 in UConn's favor. And I mean, honestly, it didn't really feel like it was a big blowout. I mean, they won by 28 points, but honestly, it didn't really feel like they won by that much. I just think it's because of the scoring runs that the team goes on. And when they go on these 7-8-0 scoring runs, 10, 12-point scoring runs, it's due to their offense and defense, but it really puts the other opposing team in a tough situation. and it really makes the opposing team really keep digging themselves out of a hole. And I think that's another reason why UConn is such a good team, obviously defensively, offensively, but go on these scoring runs, opposing team finds itself in a hole, and usually the other team can't dig themselves out of that hole. And by the time they start going on a scoring run of themselves, it's usually too late. But let's go over some of the UConn players that did play tonight, and actually everybody did play tonight, which was good to see. But let's start off with Lou Lopez Senechal, led the team with 23 points, made 4 of 5 threes. I'll go with her as the player of the game tonight. She just had a great shooting night, and it really has amazed me so far how well she's fit into this team in general, and really made an impact offensively tonight. Aaliyah Edwards had a great second half. I consider picking her for the player of the game. And her third double-double as well was 17 points, 11 rebounds. Kind of started off slow in the first half. I mentioned how I wanted to see her get more aggressive defensively and offensively, and I think she did do both of those things in the second half. She came out, scored a couple points in the third quarter, got a couple block shots, a couple steals as well. She really had a good second half tonight. AZ Fudd, solid night, like I mentioned. You just really expect her to go out and score double digits. That's what she did. Scored 14 in this game. Nika Mule, nation's leader in assists this season, had 10 more tonight. Another great game for her defensively. She is the heart and soul of this team, and her energy is really just unmatched. Aubrey Griffin didn't make quite the impact she did last game, but she still played really good, scoring 8 points, getting 6 boards. And I like how everyone saw the floor, like I mentioned tonight. Caroline Ayana got decent minutes off the bench, like I would expect they're going to moving forward. And with about 3 minutes left, Gino pulled all the starters except for Aubrey, and we got to see Amari and Ines get some playing time tonight as well, which was good. And one more note on the players, specifically Caroline Ducharme. She's struggling a little bit offensively, and I think that's due to her not really playing much basketball during the offseason. She was recovering from some injuries, and then she missed a couple games with neck stiffness. So I think she's really just trying to find her rhythm out there, and she's kind of a little slow to pick up things. So I think she's going to eventually find the rhythm she was in for last season as well, because I think UConn's going to definitely need just that type of offense going forward into the season. But I think now it's time for some comments now that I got through that game recap. UConn winning 78-50, improving to 4-0 on the season. Let's go over some comments here. Let's start off with Kuna Cuckoo. Kun Kuno. I don't know. I'm just gonna stop trying to pronounce some of these names. It's getting pretty bad over here. But they said 20 from Lopez, 17 from Griffin, 20 from Edwards. Hello. Others are scoring. Sheesh. Get real, LOL. Well, I think in the last check-in episode before this one, excuse me, uh, I think maybe it was one of the comments we went over about, or maybe some of the discussion me and Phil had about if AZ Fudd doesn't score a lot of points or 30 points like we saw tonight, who's going to be the player that steps up, or can UConn's players step up? And like I mentioned, I think some of the players have already this season. And like I mentioned in that last game against NC State, AZ Fudd had a great first half, but she didn't really score a lot of points in the second half. Lou Lopez scored most of the points. Aubrey had an amazing game, and Aaliyah scored a lot of points as well. So I think the balance is always going to be there for UConn. They don't rely on one player, or they don't rely on AZ Fudd to score all the points, and we saw that tonight, right? Lou Lopez leading the team, and AZ didn't score 30 points again. She only had 14 points in this game, but Lou Lopez leading with 23 points. AZ Fudd providing some points. Nika Mule scored the ball some as well tonight, and Aaliyah Edwards had a great night offensively. So In my opinion, I agree. It's the balance is there. It has been there for UConn, despite AZ Flood kind of taking most of the spotlight in terms of the offensive side of things. But I think the balance is always going to be there for UConn, and I think that's really going to be the key for them is playing as a team all season, especially if they want to get back to the national championship game. Let's move on here to Jason D'Amico. He had some more film notes for us here this evening. He said Duke plays aggressive on both sides of the ball. They like to run, and UConn will have to play up close and personal on D to keep them in check. UConn cannot afford to fall asleep on this team. Duke can move the ball around and crash the boards. Dane Wilson is going to cause some problems on the perimeter. It's not going to be easy as people think. Enjoy the turkey, fellas. Peace. Well, thank you, Jason, for more of those film notes. I certainly did enjoy the turkey. I hope you did as well. But yeah, I agree with you. You were definitely right. It wasn't as easy as people thought, and like I mentioned, UConn won by 28, but it really didn't feel like they it really didn't feel like that much of a blowout. And UConn, or excuse me, Duke did play some really good basketball in that first half, and I really think they're going to take a lot of film away from this game. They're going to learn a lot from this game, and I think the Blue Devils are a team that we can see in March Madness, and maybe not make a really deep run, but I think they're definitely going to be a team that's going to be there in the end, probably finish pretty high in the ACC. But I would expect them to be in March Madness, and I think they could cause some noise possibly. They have a pretty good team, and they definitely did play some pretty solid basketball tonight, but just not able to quite keep up with the pace that UConn has on both sides of the ball. I'll go over one more comment here. I think I have time for one more. Last comment I'll go over Lindsey Matthews. They said at the end of the championship game, trophies should be given to both teams. It takes so much sacrifice from both teams to get to the final, and from different sources like family, fans, the school. How awful would it be if the ceremony started with the team that didn't win? Well, I certainly agree with you, and that's a very good point. I'm sure a lot of other people would agree with you as well. I certainly think it could be done, and maybe it should be, but I just think it's been done for so long, and with all the other professional and collegiate sports, you just don't really see the second place team getting any recognition or getting a trophy or any sort of thing like that. So I just think it maybe be pretty difficult to implement that into women's college basketball. But I certainly don't disagree with you. I think that would be an awesome thing to do, and an awesome thing to start doing every single year, because it's certainly, every single team, a tremendous sacrifice from every team, just getting out on the court every single night from, all the fans showing up to all the home games, away games as well, supporting the teams, the players, the coaches. So much sacrifice to go all the way around, and for those teams to play their hearts out during March Madness and to make it to the championship game is certainly a battle for any team to get there. So I definitely agree with you. It would be something cool to see if the second place team did get a trophy. So hopefully we can see that one day. But unfortunately, I don't really think we'll see that anytime soon. But I think that's going to do it for me here tonight on the game recap versus Duke. Phil will be joining me, I believe, on Sunday for UConn's game. It's either going to be versus Iowa or Oregon State in the championship final of the Phil Knight Legacy Tournament. So that's going to be Sunday. I don't think the time has been announced yet. I think we have to wait until after the conclusion of the Iowa and Oregon State game, which is currently going on right now. So guess we won't know until the conclusion of that game, who UConn is playing on Sunday, but I'm sure it'll be a good matchup. So I'll see you guys back here on Sunday, sometime after the game to recap that with Phil. So this has been Rye signing off for now, and I will see you guys on Sunday.